So we were just diagramming a jump that happened a week and a half ago.
A week and a half ago. Okay.
And what happened and what we did. So fence line, and there was a Anna mashed Argo break, the width of an Argo, kind of right here, adjacent to cattails, right through here and through this wetland unit. So this whole thing was a cattail marsh
This
area.
is out, you're saying?
This is out. This is
Okay.
yeah. So this is our
That makes
break,
more sense.
and Trenton was driving the Argo.
Yeah.
Anna was driving the Argo, and she was mashing down and then driving along, spraying ahead or behind you, either both, kind of laying down a wet line basically through the center of this mashed break into the edge of it.
And that was cattail also?
And that was also cattail,
Basically,
exactly
it
the
was all
same
cattail,
vegetation. Both,
straight
yeah.
through. Both sides of the fence.
Okay, got it.
And then Trenton was following behind and igniting. And he was trying to ignite right off the southern wheel well, the wheel mash of the area of the Argo line. Right? And then I was behind Trenton and Rob was behind me. And so there were patches in here that were fairly wet and patches where there was decent continuous fuel across. So Anna was kind of cruising along, mashing and wetting. Trenton was trying to stay relatively close to her, doing that ignition. And then I was staying relatively close behind, and Rob was kind of bopping back and forth, being the anchor on the line, going back and forth basically between me and the start of that marsh.
Which way was the wind?
The wind was really variable, was one of the issues, but primarily it was out of the south, and we would occasionally get pushes right out of the north. There was usually an easterly component to it, right? So we had ignited in upland areas, way up here, and everything was great. And we had been burning back. We had been doing. So Trenton was laying this line. I was trying to do spots behind Trenton to widen that breakout. Rob was doing a combination of. So I was doing those spots. This was the jump at Addison. I was going back and looking at the line edge. Rob was doing basically the same thing, continuing to widen out beyond my spots, and then bopping back and looking at the line edge to make sure that nothing was bad. And we had blackened area basically 50 feet all the way back through here. And Anna had driven 2 swaths back in the unit, knocking down any burning cattail heads, so that there was just to try and avoid any kind of smokers that were up off the ground. Most of it a lot of it had burned off completely, and some of it there were still individual standing cattail heads. And so Anna had driven back along this line, turned around, and would come back again, knocking down all remaining standing vegetation. And Trenton had gone on and was igniting up here. Anna mashed those down and then was up here with Trenton. I had taken a peek at the line and was back in here, continuing to do spots, all kind of back in here. Rob was doing spots back in here. And then at some point Rob looked back and saw that there was fire that had been basically right on the fence line, on and slightly over the fence line. Right, and you said it was kind of 4 feet by 2 feet at that point, something like that. So Trenton and Anna were over here. I was kind of a little bit closer. Rob spotted it from here. Took a minute, 2 minutes, probably less than 2 minutes to get to it.
Oh yeah.
Immediately radioed to Anna to hightail it back here. And again, there was an unbroken fence line right here that was about 4 feet, about 4 or 5 feet tall.
So the Argo couldn't get across.
So the Argo couldn't get across. So Rob got here, and Anna got here pretty close to the same time. Rob used the Argo. Anna parked right on the fence line. Rob jumped up on it. Anna fed the hose over, and by the time they got going on it, it was kind of like that, right? It was already 15 by 30 or something, and we were getting periodic gusts out of the south that kept kind of pushing the fire like that. So, and I got there shortly behind, and as Rob had been talking about when we did all the whiteboard stuff the first time around anchors, so reeling it in from the upwindmost points is the way to pounce on it. And so Anna was on the Argo feeding hose to Rob. Rob was spraying off the Argo, catching this line. I was using my backpack trying to catch this line. And we had a willow thicket that was kind of like this, running to upland, and then this dropped way back, a lot farther back down here. And we quickly started to all get relatively low on water, right? So I felt like the thing to do was to tie in this line as best we could to stop it from continuing to burn out into the greater part of the marsh, and that we would end up using this as a stopper. It just kept getting pushes too much that if we all had plenty of water, we could have reeled it in, but we were starting to get really low, and so both of you guys we ran out of water on the Argo relatively quickly, and both of these guys jumped onto this line behind me, and so I was kind of knocking it down, just like we were talking about at Coldwater. I was trying to get 60% of it down, knowing that these guys were behind me, working to make it 100% back there, and the goal was just to try and intersect it, to catch it before it really kind of, if we got any kind of a westerly, that it would flare out. And we were able to do that. We were able to pin it basically right at that
So
willow
you
line.
took a line of fire to the willows, or you just waited?
It was all we could do basically to kind of be wetting it down.
Keep on the flanking fire.
Keep on the flanking fire. And similar to what was happening at Coldwater, anytime there was a significant gust, we basically kind of paused a second and let it work its way out, just because we would have taken so much water to have fought that head fire as opposed to catching it when it was a lighter flanking fire. And so bit by bit we kind of corralled it right to that point. And it was only after we pinned it right there that we then came back and started to catch, this portion of the fire that was creeping back this way. And Rob, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you started to do that again, kind of from the anchor point.
Yeah.
And it was enough of a flanking fire that I then just turned and started to do that from that north edge coming back towards Rob.
I got a couple of photos that you can kind of see what happened. I mean, I don't know if anyone wasn't there and wants to see them, but
I wasn't there.
obviously it's hard to see. But so this is the line. You can see the fire.
Right. So Trenton stayed at that ignition point at the head of the line. Somebody always has to stay at that ignition at the head of the line.
At the original.
At the original
Right.
point where he had carried fire to.
And I stayed in the rest of the unit while you guys were all doing that.
Like this was.
Got this, guys!
Yeah, I mean, probably because Kayla was 3/4 of a mile away.
Michelle came up though.
Well, question on that. if that's happening and you're the one left behind, should you start putting that one out just as much as you can, or?
So what I told Trenton is that he should keep drawing his fire. He should keep continuing to light his line, staying out ahead of any fire that was burning inside the unit. So he wants to kind of take it as slowly as possible, but he needs to stay out ahead of any fire that's burning in the interior. Right?
So he was trying to take a line around it to trap the fire inside. So
Well,
then-
this is still.
He was
Remember,
in the
he's
other unit,
still
or he
on.
was in
He's
the
on
original
He's on
unit.
the head of the.
Okay.
Still on the exposed
Right.
edge of the
Okay.
unit. So what he's trying to prevent is there's fire back inside. Again, this is over here, back inside this unit, and if there's a push of fire, you don't want a head fire running at an unexposed line, unprotected line, right? So he's got to keep moving fast enough that he's out ahead and creating enough black space to withstand a little bit of a head fire coming in
Gotcha.
that direction.
As you're working towards whatever your easterly boundary was.
Exactly. Yep, that's exactly right. There are times where maybe you could put that line out, but probably not that often. Because putting that line out might mean putting this entire area out right over
Right.
here.
Okay.
Right.
So you were basically still trusting what your previous fire breaks were.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. This was our only breach right there.
Well, we had a fire, like the west line was all done and the south line was moving, and like it wasn't just about that edge. We had a whole unit that was like just
Tight.
putting that.
Yeah.
Yeah, putting that one line out isn't gonna solve putting the rest of the unit out.
Right.
It's not the job.
It's totally possible that had Kayla and Michelle been still had some unprotected portion of their unit, Kayla would have had to stay at that line and continue to do basically the same thing that Trenton was doing, continue to pull it back, stay out ahead, while Michelle, if that line allowed it, hauls ass over to join us. And then the other thing with those people who are on the main points is you're staying out ahead, but you're also then patrolling back to make sure that there's nothing unforeseen happening between, in your last 100 or 200 or 300 feet of fire. And you only leave that point when you know you're really safe in doing that. And if you're back here patrolling the line here to double check, and you feel a significant gust during that time, then you hightail it back to that point just to double check what's going on, how the gust impacted that leading edge.
Do you know, did that just creep underneath? How do we?
Yeah, good question. So it seemed like what had happened was that the fire was out on the edge, but that it may not have burned, it probably didn't burn 100% right along that edge. And maybe what happened was, fire was burning back here and then kind of trickled back and just very slowly burned through that previously wetted area, which is now dried out. Because there was a little blackened area that seemed like it kind of connected to that gem spot.